to the cloud. And I gotta find the bio. So Jared set up for Rick Barnes to come and speak to us this morning. He has been in scouting for many years, and with many different councils, including the Black Hills Area Council, and he's worked at the Philmont. He's been at the Trapper Trails Council and the Great Salt Lakes Council. He has been married for 45 years. He's got 6 children and 18 grandchildren, and there's 2 more grandchildren on the way, so that's always exciting. Let's see, he's been in Rotary for 25 years, including in Vancouver, Washington, Ogden, Salt Lake City, Riga, Latvia, and Ogden. Oh, and Ogden again. And so, and he has just finished a term as a Rotary president for his club. He enjoys reading, gardening, fishing, hiking, and kayaking in his free time. So I'm going to turn this over to Rick now to talk to us about scouting.
Okay, so I'll unmute. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
So it's a pleasure to be with you talking about 2 of my great loves, Rotary and scouting. I live in Mountain Green, Utah, which is just east of Ogden. I live on the back side of the mountain, kind of in the foothills. So I'm up at about 5,000 feet elevation, and it's a beautiful area. So I live about 30 minutes from Jared. I've known Jared for 20 years when I came to the Ogden area to serve in Trapper Trails Council. And I got involved with Rotary again here starting in 2002. And it's been a pleasure. I was in Salt Lake for a while. My wife and I served a mission for our church in Riga, Latvia, and we were involved in the Rotary Club there. And we also did scouting for an American family that were attached to the embassy there. So we helped one of the young men work on second and first class, and his younger brother, we helped him with his bear and webelow. So that was kind of fun to do that over there. So anyway, I have a little presentation for you. It'll be like preaching to the choir. I don't know a lot about you, but I know you're all scouters, and that, you know, you're talking about NOAC and camp. But if you could allow me to share, I have a little PowerPoint I put together, and it'll be a review for some of you, but it'll give us some talking points. So if you'll allow me to do that, I'll see if I can bring up my PowerPoint.
Try that now.
Perfect. All right, is that okay? Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so those are 2 symbols that you're very familiar with. I know that I think you have other members that are outside the United States, correct?
Correct. We do have members from outside the United States.
But I think for today, all of you are within the United States. So let's just talk about these 2 organizations. And like I said, this will probably be a review, but hopefully you can learn something new. So of course, Rotary began in 1905, that BSA in 1910. And since their inception, Rotary International and the Boy Scouts of America have been partners in serving young people. The principles and goals of both organizations are closely allied. So we're all familiar with service above self, and of course, do a good turn daily. The 4-way test, the Scout Oath and Law. We're familiar with those and how they go together. I like this. I saw this Paul Harris and James E. West used to travel the country together, starting Rotary clubs and scout troops. I thought that was kind of cool that they had that partnership. And of course, James E. West was the first chief scout executive for the Boy Scouts. And so they were contemporaries. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Paul Harris actually received the Silver Buffalo in 1934. So I thought that was another interesting fact about Paul Harris and the Boy Scouts. So Rotary clubs in the United States charter currently nearly 1,400 scouting units, Cub Scout packs, Boy Scout troops, venturing crews, serving more than 50,000 youth members currently. So that's where we've been and kind of where we are. But as you know, in 2020, the BSA was hit with a triple threat. So it was a tough time, especially out in our part of the world. So at the beginning of 2020, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints ended their partnership with the BSA. The BSA lost 437,000 youth members overnight, and actually a couple of 100,000 adult members. Here in Utah, we had 3 large councils, and we served over 210,000 youth. And right now, the council, it's called the Crossroads of the West Council. It's a merger of the 3 councils, and it merged in April of 2020, and they serve about 7,500 youth. So that was a big hit for
100? 7,500?
Yes, 7,500 in the state.
Wow.
So that's a big difference. And of course, we're all aware of the problems COVID created in 2020 and continue to create problems. And I'm sure you're all familiar with the bankruptcy case, and that's been ongoing for over 2 years and is still not settled. So, I mean, to be hit with these 3 things at the same time has been a huge challenge for all of us, but especially in this part of the world. My wife and I served just a few weeks ago. We did a family camp for the Crossroads of the West Council. They really wanted to utilize some more of their properties. So with the merger, the council here actually has 23 properties, which is a lot, but with a lot of the things that they've done with contracting with church groups and family reunions and so forth, they've been able to camp a lot of people this summer. But my wife and I did a family camp, which is something that they really wanted to do here to help support scouting families. So we did a camp just for families, not for Cubs or Boy Scouts or Venturers, but for families, of course, which were made up of all ages. We started program for the 2-year-olds and up. So, of course, it was formed after what we do at Philmont Training Center, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. I actually served for 2 summers as the Philmont Training Center director, and so had some ideas of how to continue doing that. So that's been a fun thing for this summer. So going forward, what can Rotary do to support the BSA today? And again, I'm sure that you're familiar with all of this and that I'm preaching to the choir, but let's just go over a couple of things. So as you know, our future lies within our children, and oftentimes the challenges and problems they face seem insurmountable. Today, more than ever before, our young people need the guidance and mentoring of quality adult role models. So most of you are probably involved with chartering of units, but I think it's even more important for Rotary to charter scouting units today because it used to be that about 70% of our scouts were chartered by religious organizations, and that's changed quite a bit, especially in our part of the world. And so we've been looking for different sponsors in the community. So I know Rotary has been an important part of that in our community. So Rotary and Scouting work together to bring people of all races, religious faiths, and political beliefs in a friendly, impartial atmosphere. That's what I like about the two organizations working together. It's a wonderful partnership that we have. So as you know, becoming a chartered organization can result only in a win-win situation for Rotary Club. Not only will such a project bring club members together and allow them to directly serve the youth in their community, but also the image of the club will be enhanced in the eyes of the public. Our club, last year, at the beginning of last year, we got together and we did our strategic plan, but it was fun. Before we did the strategic plan, our council at their service center has a low coat course. And so we divided our board up into a couple of different teams, and we went through the low coat elements, and then we got together and we were able to discuss that and work on our strategic plan together. So I guess the other thing I would suggest is there are facilities that are probably available for us to use as Rotarians and board members. And also there's service projects that we can do together that would benefit both of us. So we do a river cleanup, and I think that would be fun for us to involve our scouting groups here in our area to do that with us. How many of you know about the Cliff Doctorman Award? How many of you have the Cliff Doctorman Award? So let me just mention this. The Cliff Doctorman Award is an honor available to recognize an individual Rotarian or Rotaractor who acts as a role model and renders distinguished and dedicated service to scouting through active leadership or for other exemplary contributions. I tried to get the image of that and put it on the screen, but I couldn't find it. But there, see if I can do it here. You can't really see it very well, but I was awarded this before I retired in the Salt Lake Club. And so this is available to all Rotarians. And if that's something that would interest you, I would just recommend that you Google it and you can look at the requirements for that. But at our district conference that we did in May, our district governor actually presented 3 Cliff Doctorman Awards to club members in our Rotary district, which is actually in our part of the world, the state of Utah. So that's another thing that I would recommend that you look up and check out. So I'm going to stop the share and then come back and answer any questions that you might have. Jim.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm just curious about your current club. How many members? Where do you meet and when do you meet?
So we meet in Ogden. Our club actually was started in 1918, so we've been around 104 years. And we meet on Wednesdays at noon, kind of traditional. And we meet in downtown Ogden at the Ogden Eccles Conference Center. On Monday, which is tomorrow, we have our 3rd annual golf tournament, and we are raising money for scholarships. So what we've been able to do in the past is we were able to get money from some local foundations for the scholarships, but as you know, those have changed over the last few years, and they've changed the way that they give. So we've been doing this golf tournament, and so we give scholarships. So that's one of the fun projects that we do. The other one that we've been doing for over 25 years, and I know this has been done in other parts of the country, is that we've been doing the dictionary project for third graders in the Weber and Ogden school districts. So we give about 3,300 dictionaries to third graders. So that's kind of our other big project. It's kind of funny because our district isn't really, they don't really like the dictionary project anymore. They think it's a little outdated, but I thought it was kind of cool at our district conference. We had the Rotary Club of the year in our scouting district, and also the president of the Rotary Club came up to receive the recognition, and she brought up the dictionary that she got in the third grade, and she still had it. And she was a Latina, and she said she's the first member of her family to graduate from college. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing that happened at our district conference about our dictionary project. Of course, that was in Salt Lake, but that was pretty cool. So, and then let's see, there's a chat here about the National Fellowship of Scouting Rotarians. So are any of you a member of that? I know that's not you. You're just a separate club, but I went to the, did any of you go to the Rotary convention in Houston? Anyway, I went there. Did you go to the Fellowship of Scouting Rotarian meeting, Jim?
I did. I was the one that gave Mark the neckerchief.
Okay, well, I was there. So I guess we didn't meet in person, but that was my first opportunity to find out about that. So that was kind of interesting. And anyway, any other questions that you might have about our club or about scouting in our area? I appreciate your dedication to both organizations. They're important to our world and to our country and to our communities.
A couple things. On the Cliff document, doesn't that have to be nominated by a club, and each club has a limited number of people they can nominate every year?
I actually don't know the answer to that. So again, that would, I probably should have looked that up, but that would be a good thing for you to probably check out. But yeah, I received it in the Salt Lake Club. I do know, again, that our district actually presented 3 of them. So I don't know the exact answer to that.
I know we've talked about it a lot, and one of the committees that we need to get going this year is an awards committee. That was a committee that a lot of people wanted to serve on, so we need to get that going so that we can nominate people for these kinds of awards and their district awards and other awards out there. So
Looks like Ty put in the chat the award, so you can look at it again there a little better than what I showed you. But it's on a ribbon, and I have it in my scrapbook. So I built these scrapbooks. They're kind of scouting, but they also have Rotary stuff in them. So that's where I have mine.
that's cool. So I was going to comment on the discussion around Rotary clubs being charter organizations. In my local community, our Cub Scout pack was looking for a new charter org last year, and they came to the Rotary Club to be their charter organization. And the club decided not to move forward with that for a couple of reasons. They didn't want the responsibility, and they didn't have anyone that would be the champion of it at the club. So they didn't want to take it on if it wasn't something that they couldn't do well, right? Because to be a good charter organ, or you have to have someone who's going to be involved with the unit, right? Because
For sure.
too often the charter org rep is not connected to the organization, the unit, and they don't really know what's going on. They just rubber stamp the applications, and they don't realize when they review those applications, the liability they're taking on. And so I know that the club talked to some other clubs locally that are doing charter ordering, but they decided that until they had someone that would take it on, and it's a small club, it's only like 12, 15 people, that they couldn't take that on. Is there anything that you would suggest for overcoming those kinds of obstacles?
Well, I think you mentioned the key. They really have to have a champion in the club to be able to take that on. They really do. So without that, it's very difficult to move forward with that chartering. They really do need to have a champion. So
Yeah.
Jim,
I have a similar question, but Rick, you said you lived outside of the US for a while and were involved in scouting. So my question was, where was that? And how was scouting organized there? Was it this charter organization method, or was it some other model? Because
so we were in Riga, Latvia, where we were involved in the international Rotary Club there. They're from mostly around Europe. They all speak English, thank goodness. But the family that we were working with, they actually registered as lone scouts with the Transatlantic Council. And so we did our scouting that way. My wife and I were registered also with the Transatlantic Council at that time. And so these two boys were an American family. Their dad was an undersecretary at the embassy there. And so that's how we did scouting with them in that part of the world. Latvia is one of the Baltic states in Eastern Europe. It's actually contiguous with Russia. It's right below it is Belarus, and then right below that is Ukraine. So that part of the world. One of the neat activities that we had, we were able to go to the embassy on Veterans Day, and we had two Marines help the boys learn about the flag and do a flag ceremony right there at the embassy. So basically we were on American soil that day to be able to do that flag ceremony. So that was a cool experience that we had with those boys.
so you were still working through BSA. You weren't working through scouting in Latvia.
Right, it was BSA, yeah, through the Transatlantic Council. We tried to get connected with the scouting movement in Latvia, just to see what they were doing and if we could help while we're there, because our mission there was serving the youth in different ways, but we were never really able to connect with them. I don't know why, but I guess they weren't interested in using us, and we really did try to find out more about it, but we're never able to. So well, thank you for allowing me to visit with you. I just wanted to mention, I have a friend that lives in Manti. He's also a retired Scout executive, but he has a presentation that is a lot more detailed on the history. It flows through the history of Rotary and the BSA, all the way to today. So he might be a good presenter for you in the future. And so I can get you his contact information, and maybe that's something that he would be willing to do. But he studied this out at length and has a pretty cool presentation on the history of both organizations.
Interesting. Yeah, you can get that contact to Jared. He's
Yeah, I can do that with Jared, so I'll let him know that. Anyway, thanks for letting me be with you today, and thanks for all your great work in both Rotary and Scouting. And again, they're both very important for our country and our community.
great. Thank you for coming and speaking to us. It was really interesting. There was some things I had never heard there before. That was good. I'm going to stop recording.